All right, so we're starting to wind this workshop down. And before we do that, just wanted to take the opportunity at this point. We're going to go through what we've done in the past, celebrate some of those successes, talk about how that's going to position us for what we're going to do this upcoming FY, recognize some people, do another thing that's going to be pretty cool for the program, and then we're going to get out of here for the day so everybody can get back to their homes and to their families. So thank you for your time and attention. I just wanted to go through and start to show you, here's what our program highlights, what we look like this year. Obviously, I'm not going to recap any of the large numbers that you see on the screen. I just ask that you view them for your own edification and be impressed by them because they are impressive. The one thing, though, that I want to do, I apologize for jumping into that, is I want to take the opportunity to introduce another distinguished visitor that we have with us today. Who we have with us is the presiding judge, presiding judge for the Mississippi Supreme Court. We have with us Judge James Kitchens. Can you please stand? He has the honor of being the husband of Miss Mary Kitchens, so now I know how he got to be a presiding judge. So you're a blessed man, sir. All right. So back onto our highlights. If we take a look at what we've got, Air National Guards kicking us off, 7 missions, 3 being supported. I do want to bring your attention, do I have a laser? All right, so you guys are showing how short I am. This thing right here, big number of the training requirements, and then 156,000 hours of training right under that. And I'll ask that as we go through the slides that you guys kind of focus on those portions of the slides, because you'll get to see the contribution of what you're making to your particular service and ability to meet its readiness requirements. I have this picture up here. You guys have heard about New Talk. Some of you are probably sick and tired of hearing about New Talk. But obviously a mission that's very important, that's obviously very relevant as many of the missions that you've done that we've done in the past and are going to do in FY20. And just keep in mind that you are going to make, in that definition that I gave you the first day on what IRT is, remember, key services with lasting benefits to our American communities. Just keep that in the forefront of your mind on everything that you're doing. This community, NUTOC, and also the larger, I guess it's called Northwest Audit Bureau, we are basically a family at this point. We've done several projects in and around these different areas. I unfortunately had to pin one of the last projects we did last year. As soon as we left, there was an 11-year-old girl that was raped and killed in that village. And so I pinned a personal note from all of us to let them know how heartfelt and how sorrowful we were for that incident. After that, they've asked us to come back and to partner with them in the future to help with some of the things that they're experiencing with domestic violence, for us to be there, be a good example, help, add to, you're going to do the project, but there are also other areas that we can help make an impact on that community. And I know all of you, that's what you signed up for. So next person we got coming up, Air Force Reserve. This service component, you can see again the training requirements and the hours of training. What's significant about these folks, by far the ugliest group of people I've ever worked with in my entire career. But I will tell you, what they make up for in looks is the can-do attitude. So I would tell you, you start introducing these folks, you're going to be like, man, it's a rough crew. Rough crew. So, but in Camp Kamasa, we've heard about that through Ms. Kitchens and Tanya, the impact that we're making there. And I talked to you guys last year, and I won't belabor the point about who we see as heroes and who we see as people who are truly hardcore. And if you go down to that camp and you look at some of those children that are disabled, you'll refine your definition of what hardcore means. And it doesn't involve anybody wearing a uniform that can pass a PT test, I'll tell you that. All right, next we got Army National Guard. Again, some of the great statistics on what we've got here. Participation, anybody recognize who that individual is? Is she still in the room? Oh, all right, just wave to the people so everybody know who you are. There you go. So, Ola de Esperanza Sanadora. It's Puerto Rico se levanta. Huh? There we go. So great mission down there, huge mission. We're going to look to replicate. I think we had over 500 personnel on the ground for that mission, including the units there from 1st MSC, Army Reserve, there on the ground. But Army National Guard playing a big role in that. And as you can see, that personal touch is something that we're never going to get away from. Looking at the Army Reserve, you can see, again, great numbers here of what we've done. I like to caption this one, what are you ladies doing tonight? Right? So down in the Colonius mission on the border here, I don't know how many of you know this, but the Civil Affairs mission, has this already been discussed in the breakouts? I didn't see in the ones that I was included in. But Civil Affairs is a tremendous capability that goes into indigenous neighborhoods, areas, and they start to build a rapport with that indigenous population there through identifying areas that they can be helpful, whether it's through medical care, construction, whatever the needs are in that particular area. They help define for the Department of Defense what things we can do to ingratiate ourselves to the people who live there so they don't see us as trespassers on their land. So we have the opportunity to be able to exercise and train on that here in the United States. And so down in Texas on the border, there we had the CA folks going out there finding out from the local community what are the needs, what are some of the things that we can possibly help with. And not just us as DOD, but we can pass that information on to some of the local authorities who can help prepare grants, because now they have all the statistics and information that they need to support being able to justify the request for additional funding. So a big project. We're going to look to expand this capability in FY20, export it out to some of the other areas geographically, and look forward to this just continuing to make IRT even greater than it is. Navy Reserve, one mission, supported 7. A lot of good training here as well. I will tell you the one thing that I've continually been impressed by is when they call, now I understand why they call them CBs. I don't know, is it CBs? Where's Josh at? CBs right here, right? Working on this project. I know why they call them CBs, because they work together like a community. I mean, like you haven't seen any other. I haven't been to this mission, but I will say I've seen some great videos of what these folks do. So whether it's on the side of doing the construction, we've been in this place, you guys have already heard, 22-year relationship with the folks there in Gallup, New Mexico. But on the medical side as well, very impressive with the not only the number of providers that come, but the quality of service that we get from the folks that are on site as well doing those missions. So thank you, Navy. All right, on to the Marine Corps. I would say the Marine Corps, if I had a term for them, I would call them best all around. And this is not just because of my dad, folks. The reason why I say that is because in the Marine Corps Reserve, that whole corps is only about 39,000 people. You think of the boxer Mayweather, right? He's not necessarily the heavyweight, but pound for pound, he's probably the best boxer on earth right now. And he's undefeated, just like the Marine Corps. Hoorah. All right. So we already talked about their influence that they had there in Catalina Island. I talked about that the first day. Won't recap that, but a great project, again, with a lasting benefit. So pretty much everything that we've seen, a quick recap of all the things that we've done. You guys have done all these sessions where we talked about anything. I do want to ask, was there anything that happened that you guys, for 2019, that you guys discussed, covered, that you feel like you just haven't gotten a good answer on? And trust me, I won't shoot you if you ask me, but this is the time to do it. So if that looks like the silence amongst the crowd, everybody's ready to hit the highway, it looks like. But before we do that, I want to take time that based upon all the great stuff that we did in 2019, we want to bring some folks forward so we can recognize them and make sure that, you know, before we leave this place, that as we bring up these folks, that we think about not only what we've done here, but what we're going to step into in the future. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll move right into our award ceremony.
Thank you, Colonel Scott.
Oh.
All right, so going off of what Colonel Scott said, this week we have spent the majority of it looking ahead at the future missions that we have ahead of us, planning, collaborating, and preparing ourselves for success. But I think now it's time that we reflect and celebrate all of the hard work that everybody has put into this past year. We received an influx of nominations following IRT missions this year, and after a lot of deliberation, we chose our award nominees. So if you would, please join us in this recognition ceremony. So our first award is the Leader of the Year. This award recognizes individuals who plan and execute an IRT mission while displaying exemplary leadership in identifying opportunities to increase readiness and encourage collaboration and innovation. Would Lieutenant Colonel Scott Vandenberg please report to the stage? Lieutenant Colonel Vandenberg proved his excellent leadership skills through the engineering project in Puerto Rico, partnered with the Department of Education. He consistently overcame unforeseen obstacles with ease and continued to take care of the engineering personnel. Lieutenant Colonel Vandenberg continued to volunteer his time, even after the project ended, coordinating with the community and ensuring the assets were dispositioned correctly. His expertise in project planning was unmatched as the planning window continued to narrow, and his ability to work with the community partner was instrumental to the IRT program overall. Please join Mr. Lyons and Colonel Scott in commending this outstanding display of leadership. Next, we have the Participant of the Year Award. This award recognizes an individual who's gone above and beyond his or her duty by showing leadership, developing readiness skills, and engaging with the local community. The individual integrates multiple occupational specialties, projects a positive image of the U.S. military, and demonstrates exemplary collaboration with their non-DoD partners. Would Master Sergeant Mitch Cisco please report to the stage? Master Sergeant Cisco has been a continued champion for the IRT program for over 10 years. He closely assists the project planning and execution of Camp Pamalu in Hawaii this year, while also working with many communities across the country to apply for and set up their own IRT missions. Master Sergeant Cisco is a person who asks the questions that need to be asked and always finds innovative solutions to make every situation into a win-win, while constantly ensuring he's following policies and guidelines. He's worked diligently behind the scenes this year with the reservation in his hometown to build a request for assistance that has the potential to provide the military with highly sought-after training options over the next 5 years. Master Sergeant Cisco's ability to ensure success at an operational level while strategically ensuring training success for program participants in the future is unparalleled. Please join Mr. Lyons and Colonel Scott in commending this outstanding display of participation. Next, we recognize the Civil-Military Partnership of the Year. This award embodies the values of the IRT program, including improving readiness and building strong civil-military partnerships. It is suited for partnerships that incorporate multiple occupational specialties into the mission and demonstrates the spirit of collaboration. Could Ms. Carol Jewett and Major Michael Mcdonald please report to the stage? The Kentucky Department for Local Government partnered with the Air Force Reserve Command to execute Operation Coal Country in 2019. Ms. Carol Jewett was the liaison responsible for laying the foundation for a successful mission, not only for members of the local community, but also for the military training units. Her seasoned expertise enabled her to simultaneously manage 2 consecutive missions. As a result, 155 military personnel from 4 service components, representing 30 medical professions, provided over 7 types of clinical services in 5 different community clinics. She aided in cultivating a joint environment focused on enhancing medical skills and mission readiness. The accomplishments of Ms. Jewett and the Kentucky Department of Local Government strengthened Eastern Kentucky's local community partnerships. As a result, it provided cost savings for all participants while providing key medical and dental services for American communities. Please join Mr. Lyons and Colonel Scott in recognizing this year's Civil-Military Partnership of the Year. Champion of the Year. This award goes to the individual who led efforts to gain momentum for the IRT program in their community. This person actively promotes IRT in their local network while also encouraging community members or organizations to get involved with IRT projects. Would Miss Mary Kitchens please kindly join us on the stage? Mary Kitchens has committed her life to developing Camp Kamasa for kids and adults with special needs. It is because of her partnership with the Innovative Readiness Training program that this dream has become a reality. Ms. Kitchens has been a strong advocate for the program for over 2 years, constantly sharing the unique benefits of the Innovative Readiness Training program with various stakeholders, to include civic organizations, state and local government officials, and nonprofit organizations. She passionately advocates the talent, expertise, and economic benefits service members bring to the community. She's continually drawing in new partners across the state in support of the current initiatives. Please join Mr. Lyons and Colonel Scott in presenting our 2018 IRT Champion of the Year. Program Manager of the Year. Last but not least, it is my pleasure to recognize the Program Manager of the Year. This award goes to a service member who provided guiding leadership and vision for the IRT program. They will have volunteered in leading efforts in the Program Manager Working Group to determine IRT's strategic direction. The individual guarantees success of complex missions that provide substantive military training benefit. This person also ensures appropriate use of funds and finds innovative ways to stretch resources. Would Major Michael Mcdonald, you're already up on stage. Hey, all right. So Major Mcdonald ensured programmatic success when taking on the responsibility of medical equipment, doubling the Air Force Reserve Component's asset management responsibility. In turn, he has found creative ways to ensure current and future missions will have quality equipment that will lead to better training for our members. Major McDonald has also worked to continue to bring a positive attitude, mostly, to his peers in the program, and consistently has a can-do attitude, clearly striving to go above and beyond. Please join Mr. Lyons and Colonel Scott in presenting 2018 IRT Champion of the Year. At this time, we would also like to recognize some outstanding individuals who have been monumental in ensuring mission success within the IRT program. Upon hearing your name, would these individuals please report to the stage? Captain White, Captain Brooks, Captain Harrison, Captain Hayes, Lieutenant Brooks, Senior Master Sergeant Houston, Master Sergeant Johnson, Staff Sergeant Altier, and Staff Sergeant Vondi.
And just in case anyone's wondering, we had some outstanding folks doing some outstanding things that we didn't have categories to recognize them for, but we wanted to make sure that they were indeed recognized for their contribution and effort. So I could give you a story about each and every one of these individuals here, but for the sake of time, we won't do that. But know, nevertheless, that these folks really put in a lot of hard work to make this program a success. And I just want to take the time to say thank you very much. All right, let's give them a round of applause. Absolutely. Can we get a picture? All right. Oh.
Crowd as much as you can.
Sir, sir, you got a wide lens?
As you can see, there are some mysterious objects behind me, and it is my pleasure at this time to introduce Lieutenant Colonel Neary, who will bring light to the subject.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be with you here today. What you're about to see is an unveiling, an art unveiling of a couple of heritage and combat artworks created by Air Force Reserve Airmen. And it's part of the Office of History and Heritage for Air Force Reserve Command. And our mission is to document and to capture our stories. And one of the ways that we go about do that, in addition to the traditional histories that we capture of our efforts and your efforts through histories, is also through artwork. And it's a powerful way, a persistent way that we can use to share our mission, both in capturing it and also educating and inspiring understanding for these missions. This started through word of mouth. Somebody had approached me and heard about the Air Force Reserve Art Program and said, hey, how can we get our mission coverage? And lo and behold, it came to find out that it evolved, and initially it was going to be a capturing unloading of a C-17 with the airport operations and our port dogs doing the great work that they do. And then as we started to do research, as we do as normal historians, digging in, finding a little bit more, we found out that this story was actually about IRT. And I was like, what is IRT? And I found out what IRT is. I thought, wow, this is great. And all the different missions we have across the board. And so, not only addition, so I'll leave it to Colonel Scott to tell you about the backstory on each of these paintings before I get ahead of myself. But we send our artists out to cover different missions, and they talk to airmen and gather information, and we do studies and take photos on location, and then we go back to the studio and we create works of art of what you're about to see. I'd like to welcome Colonel Scott to the stage.
Absolutely, thank you. And just real quick, I want to let you know this is a huge deal as we start to capture and make history of the things that you all are doing with the IRT program, and hopefully get this added to the DoD art collection. As you know, well, you may not know, but it's a huge deal for art, especially in the Pentagon, that gets registered and collected and then later on displayed. So monumental thing as we move forward for IRT, and I just wanted to take the time to introduce the pieces. The first one I wanted to introduce, I'll tell you guys when to take it off, but what we have, obviously we have the artists here with us, and we also have two of the folks who are depicted in the artistry. Staff Sergeant Vondi, who thinks he's good looking, but he's not. He's not. You know, face only mother could love, but you know what? Leaders love can-do attitude and the hard work that you put in. So thank you, as well as Staff Sergeant Altair, who definitely another big time contributor to the IRT program. So if you would, go ahead, you can go ahead and unveil it. So there you go. So this, yeah. So the significance of this portrait is this is actually the first loadout of the equipment the Air Force owns and manage for joint use equipment, leaving the Consolidated Asset Management site in Grissom, going en route to its first mission in Puerto Rico. The Puerto Rico mission started on the 25th of April. So they were able to capture this in a portrait. And can you guys point to yourselves? Don't touch the picture. Just point to yourself.
I'm driving the truck.
Yeah, that's right.
It's just the back of my head.
That's right.
He was the only dry one there. It was rain.
Yeah.
That's right. And so if you haven't heard the effect of this on the mission is that mission saw over 9,000 patients. We had over 2,000 pairs of eyeglasses distributed to the folks there in Puerto Rico, and all around just well-executed mission. So this captures a part of that starting to happen. So, all right. And so I'll turn my attention to my left, your right. This is a rendition of interaction between health providers and patients at the East Central Georgia mission, obviously in Georgia. on last year. Program manager, Matt, I call him Mike Mcdonald, as you all know. And then also glad to have Andy from the community to represent for also this rendition. We have the artist with us as well. And if you would, you know, it's got. I haven't seen this one, so this is a surprise to me as well.
Me too.
All right. Oh wow. Wow. Very nice. Just so you know, that's an Air Force captain. To the left is the dentist. I can't remember the name. Zardonsky. Oh, he's the captain now. No, I'm just joking. No, I'm just joking. No, I'm just joking. Colonel
Clifford
Zdanowicz. And if I'm correct, the other person is actually HM1, dental hygienist. That's right. So being able to capture the joint force and interaction with the community, very, very well done painting. Very nice. So thank you very much. I was going to say, can we get one picture where we kind of, yep. So, yeah. Sir, you sure you don't want to? Okay.
All right, 1 second. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, sir.
All right, thank you. All right. So as we start to close this down, there's just a couple of comments I wanted to make before we dismiss from this place. The first thing is just thank yous. Thank you for the folks who offered this venue for us. So LMI, as part of our contract, we can use this facility, and they've made it available to us, and they've done all the things from audio visual placement of stands, stanchions, rooms, the food that you have out the back, everything that you see and you've enjoyed in this facility. LMI helped put that together, and I wanted to recognize the entire team, but I especially wanted to recognize the program manager, Lisa Watts, who made this all happen and pulled it together. Thank you. Also want to say thank you to the members of the OSD, IRT staff, and all of the program managers who worked diligently to build the agenda and the content that you all enjoyed and participated in during the time that you were here. I am sure that it was valuable. I'm sure that it was enjoyable at the same time. And so just wanted to especially thank those members as well. Last but certainly not least, and I would say most important, are the individuals who you all are sitting in the seats, because you all helped make all of this stuff happen in 2019, and you're going to help this stuff happen in 2020. And the only thing I ask is just you all just be as committed to this as you would anything else that you're passionate about, because your passion, your hard work, your commitment, your drive, all of this stuff starts to show, and it always ends up in a number on a slide. And people don't see all the hard work that goes into making it happen. So thank you for being here, and thank you for what you're going to do and helping this come to fruition next year, not only for our military and uniform folks, but also for our community partners as well. Thank you very much. Sir, I did want to say, I know you told me you didn't, but I just wanted to leave the last word if you wanted it. So outside of that, I wanted you all to know that as we leave, I want to make sure that you know that down the hall, back to where you guys were in your breakouts, there's a lot of food. There's a cake for the award winners that everyone else besides the award winners are probably going to eat. That's back to the rear to your left. But then there's also AAR forms that are out back there as well, because we want to know how we can improve. If we covered something too much or we didn't cover something enough, we need to know so we can make this better for you all. So outside of that, again, thank you very much. You be safe going home back to your family and your friends. Thank you very much.